If you've fallen on this video, it's probably because somewhere inside you've been thinking, I'm lazy. I should be doing more. What's wrong with me? And maybe you've been watching your own life from a distance, watching opportunities pass, watching motivation disappear, watching yourself procrastinate. And the conclusion feels obvious, I must be lazy, but pause, because if you're here searching for answers, questioning yourself, feeling frustrated with your own inaction, then that is not laziness. Lazy people don't obsess about why they're stuck. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel inner conflict. They don't feel tension between who they are and who they could be. You do. And that tension is not laziness, it's exhaustion, mental exhaustion, emotional burnout. There's a difference. Laziness says, I don't care. Burnout says, I care too much, and I have nothing left. And if you've landed here, it's probably because deep down you know something feels off. You want to move. You want to build. You want to become more. But your system feels heavy. Not physically, internally. Your brain feels foggy. Decisions feel overwhelming. Even small tasks feel bigger than they should. And then the shame kicks in. Other people can do this. Why can't I? I used to be stronger. Listen carefully. If you feel guilty for resting, you are not lazy. If you feel frustrated by your own inaction, you are not lazy. If you are afraid of wasting your potential, you are not lazy. You are likely mentally burned out. Burnout doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like scrolling, avoiding, delaying, overthinking. Your nervous system has been in survival mode longer than you realize, and survival mode is not sustainable. At first, you push through, you become productive, you overperform. You carry pressure silently, but eventually the mind protects itself. It slows you down. Not to sabotage you, to protect you. Burnout is not weakness. It is the mind's emergency brake. And the dangerous part? From the outside, it looks like laziness, even to you. So you criticize yourself, you try to force discipline, you compare yourself to your old self. But force doesn't fix exhaustion. It deepens it. And if you've been calling yourself lazy lately, there's a real chance you're not lazy at all. You're depleted. Let's talk about the signs. Sign 1. You've lost interest in things you used to love. This is usually the first shift. Not a breakdown, not a crisis, just a quiet dullness. The things that once energized you feel heavier now. The hobbies you loved feel like tasks. The ideas that once lit you up feel distant. And that's when the thought appears. Maybe I just don't care anymore. But laziness doesn't flatten everything. Laziness avoids effort. Burnout reduces color. When your nervous system has been under prolonged pressure, even subtle pressure, it begins conserving energy. And the first thing to go is enthusiasm. Curiosity decreases. Excitement softens. Drive feels muted, not because ambition disappeared, but because your system is protecting itself. When stress runs too long without real recovery, the mind lowers non-essential output. Joy becomes optional. Exploration becomes unnecessary. You still function, you still show up. But internally, something feels dim. That dimness isn't weakness, it's conservation. You're not lazy, you're running on reserve. And reserve mode doesn't feel inspiring, it feels flat. Sign 2. You procrastinate what matters most. Here's the contradiction. The things you delay are often the things you care about the most. If you were lazy, you wouldn't feel guilt. But you do. You don't procrastinate meaningless things as much as you procrastinate the things tied to your identity. The project, the goal, the opportunity that actually matters. Why? Because burnout turns effort into pressure. When your system is overloaded, tasks stop feeling neutral. They start feeling evaluative. It's no longer just start the project. It becomes, what if I fail? What if I succeed and can't sustain it? What if this changes my life? So your brain stalls. You scroll, you organize, you prepare, you plan. But you don't execute, not because you don't want to, because execution feels heavier than it should. Burnout doesn't remove ambition, it reduces capacity. And when capacity drops, even meaningful effort feels threatening. That's not laziness, that's overload. Sign 3. You feel tired even after resting. This one confuses people the most. You sleep, you rest, you take time off, and yet you still wake up heavy. Because burnout is not just physical fatigue, it's nervous system fatigue. Your body might stop, your mind doesn't. Low-level vigilance continues in the background, planning, anticipating, managing invisible pressure. You're not in panic, you're not collapsing. But you are subtly bracing, and bracing consumes energy. That's why scrolling feels easier than creating, why avoiding feels safer than starting, why doing nothing feels less demanding than trying. Your system is conserving fuel, but when you interpret exhaustion as laziness, you add shame on top of fatigue. Now you're not just tired, you're disappointed in yourself, and shame drains more energy than effort ever could. Burnout keeps your nervous system slightly activated. Not dramatically, quietly. And quiet survival mode is exhausting. Until your system feels safe, not evaluated, not rushed, not pressured, rest won't fully restore you. You're not broken, you're depleted. Sign 4. Small tasks feel overwhelming. This is where self-judgment spikes. You look at something simple, sending a message, cleaning a space, starting a document, and it feels bigger than it should. Then the internal attack begins. This is easy. Why can't I just do it? What's wrong with me? But the task isn't just the task. When you're burned out, every action carries accumulated pressure. Your system is already saturated. So even small effort feels like adding weight to an overloaded structure. Laziness says, I don't want to. Burnout says, I don't have the bandwidth. Bandwidth is invisible. But when it's low, everything feels amplified. That's not weakness. That's cognitive exhaustion. Sign 5. You've become more self-critical than usual. Burnout doesn't just drain energy, it distorts perception. You start viewing yourself through a harsher lens. Small mistakes feel like proof. Delays feel like identity flaws. Normal fatigue feels like failure. You demand discipline when what you actually need is recalibration. You think pressure will fix you. But pressure is what exhausted you. Shame does not create motivation. It consumes it. And the more you call yourself lazy, the more your system withdraws. Because attack does not create safety. And without safety, drive does not return. Sign 6. You don't hate working. You hate working like this. You don't hate effort. You hate constant pressure. You don't hate growth. You hate growth without recovery. You don't hate responsibility. You hate responsibility layered on exhaustion. Burnout happens when output exceeds restoration for too long. When you keep pushing without genuine reset. Eventually, your system slows you down, not to sabotage you, to protect you. And that slowdown looks like laziness. But it isn't. It's your nervous system applying the emergency brake. Instead of asking, how do I force myself to do more? Ask, what has been draining me without replenishing me? That question shifts everything. Because laziness is a moral label, burnout is a signal. And signals are meant to be understood, not punished. You're not broken, you're depleted, and depletion can be repaired. But only if you stop attacking yourself long enough to listen. Drive doesn't disappear forever. It returns, not explosive, not dramatic, but steady. And steady wins more than shame ever will.